What are you making now, Daddy?
Stay tuned and see how I made this pencil case for the Apple Pencil out of English yew and African blackwood. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel. I thought I'd start off in my new workshop with a very simple little project, but something that could be adapted for all other uses as well. It's just a slightly different way of doing things. But many of you will be familiar with one of these, and it's the Apple Pencil that is used on the iPad Pros, and they're a great thing. They're fantastic, but easily lost and easily broken, and they are not cheap. They are quite expensive. I mean, really, I think they should be included with the iPads, but yeah, I thought I'd make something to protect this. My iPad goes everywhere with me because I do all my video editing on it, you know, for my YouTube videos. I do everything on my iPad. I hate sitting at a computer. If I can't do it on my iPad, it usually doesn't get done. So it goes everywhere with me. And now I've got an iPad Pro, my Apple Pencil goes everywhere with me. So I thought I'd make a case for it. And here it is. It's a giant Apple Pencil. It's hand turned out of yew, and it's got African blackwood tip both ends, and milliput detailing around the join, and my logo burnt in there. So, I'm very pleased with how that's come out. It's got a nice tight fit, the lid, and I've put a little bit of foam in the bottom of this just to protect the nib of the Apple Pencil. That goes in there, but I've sort of mimicked the Apple Pencil in its design, so that goes in like that. There we go. That'll stop me losing it and keep it safe in the bottom of my bag. But in the video you'll see how I did it, and how I worked around a few of the sort of technical issues that involved with a project like this. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, share and subscribe, and there'll be more videos coming soon. As soon as I get the time to make a video, I will make one. I start by mounting this yew branch between stem centres, and I then remove the bark and get it to round using a spindle roughing gouge. Just bringing it more and more to round. Lathe's going about 2000 RPM. There we go, just see the heartwood beginning to show. I've now mounted it in chuck jaws. I think they're 1-inch chuck jaws, and I'm making sure it's centred using the tailstock, making sure it runs true. Tightening up the jaws. I've mounted a Jacobs chuck in my tailstock with a 10mm brad point drill bit. And it's just a standard length 10mm drill bit, and I'm now beginning to hollow. And just advancing it slowly. I've slowed the lathe down, backing in and out, clearing the wood shavings as I go, taking my time. I then switch to a longer drill bit, same diameter, to finish the hollowing. I don't start out with the longer drill bit because there's too much flex in it and it won't run true. You need to start the hole with a standard size bit to get it running true. Just keep clearing the wood shavings. Just checking that I'm through, and yes, I am all the way through. I then take the blank out of the chuck jaws, and it's not bad. It's stayed almost central. I knew it was going to drift off a bit. Now the end you start at is central, so I've put the centered end, I've turned it around and I've put that into the chuck jaws, and I then bring the slightly off centre hole in line with the tailstock. So the hole's running true, but the blank isn't, not at the tailstock end anyway. So I'm now truing it up using the skew. I'm just running backwards and forwards with the skew and changing from left to right handed as I go from each end, and taking down, because I want to get down to that heartwood and I want to get the shape right, or the proportion right should I say. And I just kept going backwards and forwards until I had enough of the heartwood showing, and until it looked about the right diameter. Just finishing off here. It's quite difficult to get a nice smooth run with the skew because there's lots of little knots in this wood. Here I'm using the Apple pencil as a guide and just marking out where I want the lid to start, making sure I've got enough room inside for the spigot and the pencil. Just marking that out. And then using a parting tool I'm creating a recess for a milliput inlay, just to add a bit of detail really to the design. There's a different camera angle showing the recess cut, and there's the black milliput, which is a 2-part epoxy putty. Equal quantities, part A and B. Mix it and mix it and mix it and mix it until it's thoroughly mixed. It takes a good 5 minutes. When you think it's mixed, mix it a bit more. And then squidge it all into the recess, making sure you don't leave any voids. Just keep squidging it in there, and you want to leave it slightly proud of the surface so you can cut it back and get a nice good finish on it. I'm happy with that, looks good. So I'm going to leave that overnight to set now. And we then need to make the that dowel that goes in the other end. So I'm using another one of these African Blackwood offcuts. I got a whole box of these off eBay several years ago, and I've been working my way through them for finials and dowels and things. Using a spindle roughing gouge just to get this to round, and a parting tool there just to get up against the chuck jaws. But just keep reducing it until I get to the diameter I want. Still with the roughing gouge here at the moment. And then I'm using a Robert Sorby sizing tool just to get the finished diameter. Spindle gouge on the end to create a point. This isn't going to be the actual point on the finished pencil, this is to help me centre it up once I've glued the nib in. Parting off with a parting tool, and that's the lead for the pencil. Good quality 5-minute epoxy. Coat the inside of the hole, a little bit on the dowel. This is G5 West Systems epoxy. Spin it as you put it in, so you make sure that the epoxy is coating the entire dowel. I brought my tailstock up to centre the pencil lead, and then using the skew just to do some final trimming and cut the milliput back so it's flush with the wood. The live centre I'm using is the mandrel saver from my pen kit, my pen turning kit. It's the only live centre I've got with a hollow in the middle, so I'm using that just to centre that dowel on, because there's a point on the end of the dowel. Quite tricky getting that dead flat because of the knots, but a bit of sandpaper soon sorted that out. And then I'm just parting off part of the way through the milliput there, not all the way through. And there's my branding iron on the heavy duty soldering iron, and I've burnt the logo on. Yorkshire grit now. Usually I would put sanding sealer on before using Yorkshire grit, but I'm going for an oil finish on this, and I thought I would try just putting Yorkshire grit directly onto the wood. Just work the Yorkshire grit well, it gets finer and finer and produces a finer and finer finish. And I was very, very pleased with the result. It looked really nice. Came up beautifully. Then I'm putting a little bit of Danish oil on there. I'll probably add a bit more Danish oil to this over the next week or so. Here I'm shaping the point on the pencil, or the nib, using a spindle gouge, just taking it down bit by bit. I'm being very careful because I don't want to mess the project up at this stage, having put so much work into it. And then using a skew just to refine the shape, just using it as a scraper really there. beginning to look like a pencil. I'm just parting off using the skew vertically and refining the shape of the tip of the pencil using a bit of very fine sandpaper and a bit of Yorkshire grit. Then putting a bit of cloth on the end and bringing up the mandrel saver, and that helps support the end while I part it off. Using the Robert Sorby parting knife just to part that off. There we go, and it's free. Creating another dowel out of another offcut of African blackwood. Just checking the diameter. Now this one I'm having to test fit it because I want a good tight fit. I've glued the dowel into the cap with some epoxy, just checking all the fit. I'm now shaping the cap. I want a nice round end to it, like the Apple Pencil's got. I used a parting tool and now I'm using a spindle gouge and just rolling that. Rubbing the bevel as I go, and you can see a nice shiny cut there. It's working very nicely. Using a skew just to shape and partially part away the African blackwood, and then parting tool just to part it away. I turn the cap round and put the spigot into the zero jaws and just neaten up that rounded end using a skew, and just using it as a scraper just to get a nice rounded end. A bit of Yorkshire grit again, get it all nice and polished on the end. That's it, job done. It's great to be back in my workshop after my long absence, and it was nice to be able to walk out there and find where everything is and get to everything without having to move stuff all the while. So I'm very pleased. But I'm pleased with how this project came out. So and hopefully I'll have a few more projects coming soon. Although I made this for the Apple Pencil, the techniques I've used could be used for making all manner of boxes and can be adapted for other projects. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and thanks to all my subscribers. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please give me the thumbs up and share my video as much as you can, and hopefully I'll have some more videos coming soon. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to John Davis. John is a friend of mine and he's a professional wood turner based in Stockbridge. Myself and Nick Zammit from NZ Wood Turning went up to see him on Sunday, spent the day with him. He gave us a great lesson in wood turning. He was a fantastic teacher and we had an awesome day. Thanks very much, John. Although John is closing up shop soon, he will still be giving wood turning lessons from his new workshop based from home.
More videos coming soon.